After watching this, your mind should open up to the unbound possibility that you carry within yourself that you are a performer meant for only success.
What score do you want to get in the next examination? Do you want it all?
Then go get it.
One of the easiest things in literature is understanding the plot. Think of this sentence. My mother woke up this morning, made me pancakes for breakfast before she received an emergency call from hospital and left in a hurry. If I tell you to come up with a plot, you'll only tell me one thing, that my mother woke up this morning, made pancakes for breakfast before she received a call from hospital, that there was an emergency and left in a hurry. So you'll not tell me how she made the pancakes because you don't know. What I did after she left because you don't know. And what she did at the hospital or what the emergency was because it is undisclosed. So simply, the plot is a sequence of main events that from it we create a story. Now, in our case, the Caucasian chalk cycles begins with a conflict brewing up between two groups of farmers. One, a fruit farming commune, and the other, a goat farming commune, all in context for a valley they claim.
You have to remember that the events in the prologue are an aftermath of the Second World War that was slowly coming to an end, and now the ripple effects were being felt in Georgia, where the play is set. Both collective farms used to lay in the same valley well before the war broke out, and now the farmers have come back to a conflict. One wants to herd goats, the other used to rear fruits, and the government delegate from the State Reconstruction Commission in Tiflis has come in to arbitrate between both sides on who could be the rightful owner to the land. At one point, it is argued that the goat farmers deserve the valley because it belonged to them for all eternity. But a counter-argument from the fruit farmers hints that land does not belong to anyone for eternity. You have to remember what makes the fruit farmers' arguments win the day. One of the farmers, Cato, says that they do have this plan to irrigate the land by building a dam across the mountain lake and even irrigate an extra 700 acres of infertile land, and hence more fruits could be grown in their vineyards, and the goat farmers were said to benefit from the project as well as the grass could be under irrigation.
In olden times, in a bloody time,
there ruled in a Caucasian city.
Men called it City of the Damned.
A governor.
His name was Georgi Abashvili.
He was rich.
He had a beautiful wife.
He had a healthy baby.
No other governor in Guercinia had so many horses in his stable.
So many beggars at his doorstep.
So many soldiers in his service.
So many petitioners in his courtyard.
You might be noticing that the events that take place from here henceforth are actually a narration of the singer Arkady Shides. So actually, Arkady gives us an introduction of the story that is set in Nuka. In the song, we know that the governor Georgi Abashvili is rich, with so many horses in his stable, so many beggars wanting something from him, so many soldiers at his service, a beautiful wife Natella, and a newly born Michael, where the townspeople had come to church on Easter Sunday to get a glimpse of the governor's bundle of joy.
A wounded rider who seeks the governor's attention on a planned coup d'etat by the princes presents himself at the service. The conservative governor, though, will have none of it, as he claims he only wants good news on the Easter Sunday and postpones the meeting after the service.
We must investigate.
Yes, at once. Tomorrow.
How sad, because had he let the rider deliver the news, maybe we couldn't be in this program.
Love. the weakness of every man and the strength of every woman. How I wish I could love somebody right now. Kiss them deeply in the morning and at night spoon them and never let them go forever. Watch them take their clothes off the river and admire their features, smile and want to be with them forever. That is the life that Simon, the soldier of the palace guard, always dreamt of with the beautiful Grusha, a kitchen maid at the governor's palace. They were also present on this day.
But the princes in Gruznia had met the previous night plotting an insurgency against the Grand Duke and his governors. The Fat Prince, Asen Kazbeki, gives signals to some of the soldiers of the palace to get the plan of overthrowing the governor underway.
It's still.
But
Why are there armed men? The governor's palace is at peace.
So we see him outside the palace giving some signals to some of the soldiers like, hey, you get into position like we talked yesterday and make sure nothing goes out of place. Hey, you move from there. Go to exactly do what we talked about yesterday. And you, at this point, you get the feeling that the plan of overthrowing the governor was underway and that something bad was in the offing, or like they used to call in those days, the sky was getting red. So it happens. The governor dies. His head chopped off by the insurgents, and it's carried on a long spear and fastened over the doorway by the hair.
That's it! What I do, my friends, I do well.
From this point onwards, it's pandemonium in Nuka. Meanwhile, Natella is preparing herself for exile. She is now all over the place, ordering everyone around, shouting, abusing, hitting, commanding. Oh, go get my one-colored dress.
I've suddenly got the most terrible migraine again. It always starts in the temples. Taking your time, man. Go and run and get the hot water bottle this minute. Don't tear the sleeves. Pardon my damn.
She leaves baby Michael behind. What a stupid, insolent, irresponsible woman she is. Come on, I want to slap her right now. One of the kitchen maids, Rusha, realizes that baby Michael has been left behind. She realizes that she has to protect the baby who's in danger of being killed by the Fat Princess. She elopes with him after promising to marry Simon, compelled by the call of duty to protect Natella when in exile. Oh love, does it have to be this way?
If you were Grusha, what could you have done? Drop the baby maybe and run off? Cry? An idea drops. Good. She spots a peasant house, drops the baby by the doorstep and hides to see if someone will pick little Michael. Somebody? A peasant woman.
Good heavens, what's this? A husband?
What is it? Let me finish my soup.
Where's your mother then? Haven't you got one? Oh, it's a boy. Fine linen. Oh, he's from a good family, you can see that.
Wow. Grusha runs off feeling relieved that everything is finished. But again,
Lady, you are running straight into the arms of the armed forces.
she is forced to rush back to the peasant house. The peasant betrays Grusha.
Soldier, I didn't know a thing about it. Please don't burn the roof over our heads.
What are you talking about?
I had nothing to do with it. I swear. So let's go to my court.
And Michael and the couple make for the baby. But Grusha is too deep in love with the toddler that she can't just give him away like that.
So here comes Grusha, picks up a log of wood and hits the corporal over the head from behind. What a courageous girl.
Fine linen!
She then runs off for 22 days and comes to a dangerous old bridge with a deep abyss, and she risks her own life and that of Michael to cross over the Jangatu Pass. Grusha has made it. The iron shirts can't get her no more. The smile on her face tells it all.
So Grusha has made it to her brother Lavrenti Vashnadze and meets her staunch religious sister-in-law, Aniko, who she convinces that Michael is her own birth child.
I thought you were in service in Nukta. Yes, I was. Wasn't it a good job? We were told it was.
She doesn't let go easily as she plummets questions to Grusha about the husband who the fearful Lavrenti claims together with the sister that he was in the war, and so the sister was going to wait for him on the other side of the mountains until the war was over.
You see, now something had to happen then about Grusha's story because she could not stay at her brother's house for long because rumors were rife that the war was cooling down. She needed to go to the husband's place to wait for him. She did, but not the intended Simon, the love of her life. She was married off to a sick man who was just on the nick of dying.
A peasant woman who has a son, just the other side of the mountain, a small farm, and she's willing.
But I can't marry. I must wait for Simon Shashava.
Of course, that's all been taken care of. You don't need a man in bed, you need a man on paper.
You see, Lavrenti knew that anyway, the man was going to die any minute, so the sister could be off Aniko at least for a while until Simon came back for her alone. Because let me tell you, the man on the bed was dying. Actually, it was like he was already dead. He was just waiting to get buried because on the wedding day, there were mourners and wedding guests. Can you imagine that? A wedding with mourners.
I wish they had known that this groom was a coward who was only escaping forced conscription into the army. During the wedding, the guests walk in and they break out news that the war is finished. Two things happen.
Now get up before I throw you out!
Grusha, who is praying in the other room for his beloved Simon to get home quickly, has no idea that the sick man is well and kicking. Oh, my Grusha, you have a husband for life till death do you apart, as the cheap drunk monk said.
Before I go too far, meet the maniac rabbit thief Azdak, who thinks that the only things that are of value on this earth are human beings, not rabbits. The singer Arkady takes us to a whole new level of the story, back to the city of Nuka. The Grand Duke is now at large. We see him running all over the place, running around the city looking for a place to hide. The Duke is a fugitive, trying to hide his noble essence and trying on the mask of the poor in order to look like one. Otherwise, he would be killed by the Fat Prince and his entire army of iron shots. His predicament leads him to the house of one Azdak who hides him from the regime.
You see, all through this time, Azdak has not realized that he is giving refuge to the Grand Duke until he realizes that his hands are completely white. White never touched a hoe.
He goes berserk and denounces himself in public and wishes death upon himself. Too bad. There is no judicial system left as the judge had been killed in the regime.
What have they done with the governor?
Although his wish was to die because he had betrayed the prince, he's kind of happy that he will walk scot-free. So you see, what this monarch does next is to get into a witty mockery of the new regime. He represents it in a song and dupes the Iron Shots into believing that what he was saying were events that happened in Persia. They could have arrested him and presented him to the prince, but failed to do so. And out of despair of the regime without a working system, they let him go.
Oh, my mother at home. They sit together and start laughing and joking like they are friends. The fat prince, who is now the new authority in Nuka, out of desperation to bring some working judicial system in place, tries to impose his nephew to the position of judge, but Azdak, who portrays some expertise of legal terms and understanding, maybe due to his profession as a scrivener, wins over him, and that easily becomes the new judge of Nuka.
You see, a scrivener in those days was a person who copied court legal documents. They made a living out of this. Now, before all this, Azdak was a scrivener. That is why, even as an accused person, he portrays all the qualities of a court judge that forced the Iron Shirts to strip the fat prince's nephew off his assumed position and elect Azdak as the new judge.
This is by far the most stupid, funny, crazy, and professional judge I've ever seen in the entire of my life on this earth. A doctor is brought in front of him having have treated a man for free and refused to treat another man who had paid for his studies. But ironically, the man who was treated for free had the wrong leg operated on.
The one who paid for the doctor's studies is fined a fee of 1,000 piastres and will be treated for free if at all he had another stroke, even if he had to amputate on him. The limping man, as compensation, will receive a bottle of rubbing alcohol, while the unprofessional, reckless doctor is acquitted of the charges. All the other cases that he judged were based on bribery, absurd decisions, and extortion of the rich.
Our story is now homestretch. The story of the judge now blends in with the first story, where our judge has to decide on who between Grusha and Natella will covet Michael. Natella has now come back from exile because she knows that she cannot inherit her husband's property without the pass of her own child. Okay, I am not telling you to go to class and be a judge, but if you were put in Azdak's position, who would you have given Michael to? Would it be Natella or Grusha?
We meet Grusha and Simon again. Last time, someone had played hard to get, huh? Now, he is regretting it and vows to stand by her.
I wish the lady to know I will swear I am the father of the child.
Thank you, Simon.
At the same time, I also wish the lady to know my hands are not tied, nor hurt.
You see now, all the people in court are waiting anxiously for the judge to rule on who's the rightful mother to Michael. But Azdak is in trouble.
Right here! Right here! No! Bring him out!
Oh, it's like the man from the minute I saw him!
Give me a rat! All to the merry of the rich folk who enjoy every moment of it.
But again, good fortune awaits him. A rider comes in sent from the Grand Duke and orders the reappointment of Azdak as the judge. Alas, incredibly as expected, Azdak seizes the opportunity to daunt his attackers with abuses and total ridicule.
What does your honor desire? Nothing, fellow dogs, or just an occasional boot to lick.
Azdak can never fail to amaze you.
Now this is where this play turns into a classic comedy. Just imagine, you're the one who has been knocking him. And there and then, you realize that this man that you've been knocking and pushing and pinching has now been officially appointed judge. And you're the reason this guy has torn pants. Run.
Yeah, I will run for my dear life, just like the corporal who Grusha hit on the head did when he realized that Azdak would be hanging on his case. Relax, Grusha. One trouble over. No corporal to chase you around anymore.
So, the newly reappointed judge by law takes two cases he has at hand. One where he had to divorce an old couple who had lived together for 40 years, and the main case where he was to decide the legitimate mother of Michael.
The case swings to Nutella's favor at one stage as Grusha engages the judge in a heated exchange, accusing him bitterly of receiving bribes from the rich.
For you weren't born to this! You weren't born to wrap your own mother on the knuckles as she swipes a bowl of salt someplace! Aren't you ashamed of yourself when you see how I tremble before you? You've made yourself their servant so no one can take their houses from them. Houses they had stolen. Since when have the houses belonged to the bedbugs? But you're on watch, else you could drag our men into their wars. You bribe taker! I've no respect for you!
If you think that all this will shake Azdak, you are wrong. He finds Grusha and Simon for contempt of court and gets ready for the ruling.
Now listen to this. Allow me to take back all the nasty things I have said about Azdak, for he proves himself a valid judge in defining who has the true love for Michael. A chalk circle is drawn and the two mothers ordered to pull Michael out of it at the same time. Now we all know what could happen. This could be a trap for Michael's death. Nutella, although the real mother of Michael, pulls and Grusha doesn't in 2 attempts.
The true mother is she who can pull the child from the circle.
Like King Solomon in the Bible, the true mother of Michael is the one who had no intentions of harming him, even by the mere act of pulling him out of the circle in a contest that had been crafted by law to claim him.
Wait, it's not yet done. He divorces Grusha and Giuseppe, and when reminded he had divorced the wrong couple, he claimed by law that once executed, then it could never be undone.
There's been a mistake. You've divorced Grusha.
Divorced the wrong couple. What a pity. I never retract.
Imagine how amazing the whole scene looked. Music, lovers moving devilishly around each other. Amazing. Azdak, my hero, at this point who vanishes from Nuka and was never seen again, and the spirit of judging described as a brief golden age. Almost an age of justice. A rare spectacle mixed with drama and reality.